Okay? It's my understanding that in taking her new course, Gaia is using the star Canopus, which is in the constellation of Argo in the southern hemisphere. It's the second brightest star in the sky after Sirius. That she is using the star Canopus as a sort of a lighthouse or sighting point to set her new course. And the star Canopus is deep in the southern skies. And so if she is setting a course, you can imagine that she is in a sense dipping slightly down into the southern skies, dipping slightly into the star stream. And the result of that would be to make the north, the rising of the sun, appear further to the north, because she's dipping to the south. It would make the axial orientation to the north appear more extreme. It doesn't really change, but it appears to, and the appearance of the anomaly is real. That's the amazing thing. You can observe it. You can't explain it by ordinary astronomy. So that's one example. I don't know if how that comes across.
Well, let me, as a furtherance point to that, let me just read you a little bit here, John, because I'm recalling this in terms of planets here out in space. June 29, 2001, astronomers using NASA's Hubble Space Telescope have spotted something extraordinary. Apparently, there are planet-sized objects wandering through a distant globular cluster of stars. Unlike the planets in our own solar system, however, these objects are loners. They have no central star of their own. Because of the findings are so surprising, researchers caution that they must be confirmed by follow-up observations. But if this discovery is verified, it could change the way astronomers think about stars and planets and how the two are related. And then we zoom forward here into 2011.
Listen, I'm so happy that you read that, because I also came across that article. And let's put it this way. When I first started teaching the Sophia myth and sharing this fantastic story, I said that it was about astronomy, and literally about astronomy and the Earth, and I brought up the outrageous point that the Earth is an organic body captured in a planetary system. And at the time I brought that up, I shook my head, and I said, nobody's going to believe me. This is just too outrageous. Well, here you go. Now science says that there can be such thing as free-floating planets. So if there can be free-floating planets in the spiral arms of the galaxy, then there can be a possible scenario of a free-floating planet being captured into a planetary system.
Absolutely.
And that's right. And if the Gnostic seers were right, and I strongly believe they were, because they worked in teams, and they were trained clairvoyants and trained observers of the universe, trained shamans, if they were right, then this is actually what happened to the Earth. This is actually how our solar system came about. And one of the lines that is you find in the Gospel of Philip of Nag Hammadi says, the world as we know it, that is to say, the world system we inhabit, came about by a mistake, or anomu, an anomaly. What is that anomaly? The anomaly is that the Earth is a profoundly alive organic planet captured in a more or less inorganic system. So there you go. That is a kind of confirmation. And not only that, but I would point out that the very fact that scientists have been able to observe these new remarkable mist clouds and these new these free-floating planets is due to the fact that the planet Earth is slightly breaking away into its own course. And as it does so, it's going to move in a way that takes it out of the paradigm of the solar system. It's going to take, and the paradigm of the solar system has a kind of control on our perception. The paradigm of the solar system, of the planetary spheres, is an archontic matrix. We don't really live in that archontic matrix, but we can be captured in it. And as we break out of the archontic matrix, we're going to see fantastic things in the cosmic environment. It's like a journey where suddenly we're standing on the deck of the great ocean liner. We're getting up out of the cabins. We're putting away our magazines, turning off our telephones, turning off our iPads, getting up on the deck. and look at what we're seeing. Look at the islands that we're passing. Look at the shipwrecks over here on the right and the left. Look at all these fantastic things, because we are actually on a voyage with her, and the entire perception of the human species of its place on Earth can rapidly and radically change as this voyage proceeds.
It's really interesting, too, because I wanted to bring up that point, John, about the fact that the first story I read there was back from 2001, and they were looking for confirmation. And then
right.
Just fast forwarding slightly here into 2011, as recently as May 18th, when the scientists have now confirmed this phenomena and actually estimate that there could be as many as 400 billion wandering planets in the Milky Way alone.
There you go, in the Milky Way alone. And we are in the Milky Way. The Milky Way is the name we give to the visible edge of the spiral arm where the solar system is embedded. The visible edge of it. It's not the entire spiral arm. It's only about 3% of it. Now just imagine what we don't see in the spiral arm if we only see 3% of it with the naked eye. And so science will be discovering things as Gaia corrects her course, as the mothership takes her own course in interstellar space. And we, as people standing on the deck, as passengers and crew, are actually going to be seeing these things. And there's nothing to be afraid of. It's not about planets and comets going to come and crash onto the Earth and destroy it. It's about awakening to a fantastic journey with the planet. It's
interesting. Then we've been looking for Planet X and, Nibiru, what have you, John, and it seems, what if we are becoming it, if you know what I mean? We're becoming one of those strange planet that has either a weird, orbit ourselves, or actually, going to travel through other systems, if you will, much in the same way that we get stories about that we've had a visitor as well. Pretty interesting, isn't it?
I've often thought that many of the things that we're looking for and expecting from outer space are actually going to come from the Earth itself, We may not be on planet X, but we're definitely on planet S, and that would be S for Sophia.
That's right. So let's just, before we wrap things up for the first hour, John, because we're going to carry on talking with you obviously here, but okay, let's just take the hard-edged scientific stuff that comes with this, if you will, then. How could we make a journey like this without a companion star to heat us up on the way? And furthermore, cosmic radiation. There are a number of things we hear about, of course, which is dangerous out there, right, in the cosmos.
That's right. That's right. Well, I want to restate the point that I just made. The Gnostics were very subtle teachers and had a profound grasp of the relationship between physical reality and mental projections of reality. They were noetic scientists of an unsurpassable level of finesse, in my opinion. And one of the things that they pointed out, which is one of the more difficult parts of their teaching to understand, but extremely valuable when you do understand it, is that any physical system, like the solar system, any physical or astronomical structure carries with it a mental paradigm. And if you change the mental paradigm associated with that structure, you change the structure itself. So what's happening to us is not only are there going to be astronomical and geophysical changes as the Earth assumes her own proper course in interstellar space, but there are going to be mental and psychological changes in our species. And the biggest change, which is ongoing right now, is that the entire archontic faults matrix falls away. It just literally disintegrates. And part of that archontic faults matrix, it has many dimensions, as you know. It's what people call the mind control system on this Earth. It's what people call prison planet. It's what people call the matrix. Okay?
Yeah.
Part of that false archontic matrix consists of scientific knowledge, which is, quite frankly, wrong and false. If you look on YouTube now, you can spend 2 or 3 days, and it's very well worth it, to make an education for yourself. Go and look at the people who are telling you that Einstein was wrong and explaining how. Go and look at the people who are telling you, teaching plasma cosmology and the electric universe, who are saying that the whole idea that gravity rules the universe is completely wrong. In so many ways, I don't want to take up the time to enumerate them, but in so many ways, the accepted scientific paradigms, this is the way it is, this is the way it works, are simply wrong. And they are going to fall apart. Because at the same time that the astronomical event of correction occurs, there is an enormous correction in the human mind simultaneously. And one of the beautiful and fantastic opportunities of this correction, and let's talk about this in the second part, is the breakthrough to free energy systems.
That's right.
Yeah. We are on the threshold of the breakthrough to free energy systems. In fact, there's only one thing that stands in the way of it, and that is due to go down very fast and very hard. I'm not making predictions here. And so that free energy systems is the true dynamics of the universe. Why wouldn't it be the true dynamics of planets as well? If Gaia, you could say, could realize her own ability as a free energy system, who says that she needs to be in a planetary system in order to carry on her journey? We don't know, but we can't rule out the possibility.
I've always seen the scientific field in many regards, John, as being a prominent construct of control in that sense, if you will. It has, in a tremendous, effective way, limited the way that humanity has been able to use their creativity, their imagination, think outside of the box, if you will, as well. And it seems we've been on this path all the time of actually limiting our knowledge. We think we end up knowing more and more about stuff, but as being showing every day, there's more and more mysteries opening up to us every day because of our observations that are, in that regard, rightly so, propelled by the scientific field, us looking out into space, trying to understand gravity and what holds the particles together, etc. But at the same time, our sense of magic, our sense of wonder and fantasy, if you will, have been slashed, cut, disintegrated, because of the fact that we've been limited in the way we think. And obviously the big part of this is the indoctrination system that most people on this planet unfortunately goes through in their younger years and actually limit everything that has to do with imagination or possibility, basically.
Absolutely correct. Science, the accepted forms of science and these master theories like quantum theory, string theory, relativity, is just total crap when you really look into it. And it has really crippled our ability to actually perceive the real dynamics of the universe. And this has happened for over 150 years now. Science and physics got really off the track in the 18th century. And science basically today has become nothing but a mathematical game. Doesn't really allow us to perceive the true dynamics of the universe or nature or interact with it. But that is changing as we speak. And true science and true magic are not incompatible, they're not incompatible at all. And when we get to true science, when these false paradigms like quantum theory and string theory crumble because the evidence overwhelms them, when we get to true science, we shall also be in true magic. And that is where we want to be as a species, because that is what